So, continuing on. NBC dropped their little black channel because they're going to be elevating America's conversation about black identity, politics, and culture. Right? So, the Moors, once again, right? Once again, talking about Moors. People can play games all they want, but I'm gonna tell you what's up, what's really up. If people like to play games, you know what I mean? Under this guise of let's let the African Kemetic whatever guys get down with the Moors so we can have unity. Why don't you just say that you're Moors? Why you want to be a dead status and then be down with the Moors that are impropria persona? You have no say anyways. So why be there in that dead status? So I had to put on the King's County today, you know what I mean? So Islam to the Moors, the twin pillars, just because, you know what I'm saying? Just because people are playing around. Playing. Right? Playing. So, this guy, dead status guy, replies to this post, right? I'm blind to the fact about what Know the Ledge is about. I mean, that they're about economic empowerment of the black guys. Okay? They have a clothing line called Moors. Are you dense? They have a clothing line where they're putting out Moors heads on shirts. This is not some poppy show sell t-shirts. They're Moors. They're exercising their birthright as Moors. Debating about stuff. Everybody's debating, right? Where's your copy? Do you have it yet? Have you purchased? If you're conscious, if you're in the 5%, we already know the 85 percenters and all that. We know the 10 percenters. No bootleg. This is supporting more stuff. For people who say, what do you do to support them? Did you support them so they can have their own network? You know what I mean? So they can have their own network instead of NBC, because NBC's been watching, you know, them to see how to implement this black station for black guys. They're stupid. They're Moors. You play games all you want to. I'll tell you that they're Moors, and you better have yours, right? Just so you know, because it's a 4-part series, so you have to get all of them, right? Okay? Don't be fooled. There's no Bay or no L after Red Pill. Don't be dumb, right? Now you're gonna put out a DVD about Moors. Know the Ledge. See right there? Know the Ledge? They're not black guys. They're accommodating you in your stupidity. I'm telling you. Stop being stupid. Proclaim your nationality and your birthrights. Don't worry about these guys debating about stuff. There should be nobody in those things there. They should go there and then it's just them. Just because they got hexed because they didn't get theirs. Do you get this one? You better have it. Better. And people better show their stuff. You know what I mean? Just like Moorish show the receipts, just to show you the stuff, right? Right? We support them. They're Moors, right? They're right. Kings County, right there. This is not some poppy show. I mean, what we doing? What are you doing? Talking about stuff. How much people? I mean, you get yours? You get yours? You know what I mean? Like, you better have yours. Because you say you're conscious and metaphysics and all that stuff, then you know that the Duke is one of the, you can't front. Don't say about what are Moors doing, you bring Fez wearers together and all that. The Fez wearers are together because we got nationality. Playing around. I want to be black guys and get stuff for black guys, right? And then don't forget, Know the Ledge, radio, blog talk, whatever you want to call it. It started on Noble Drew Ali's birthday. Why did it start on Noble Drew Ali's birthday? Why is it all the days, all the black days, African, Zulu, Kemetic, whatever days, all the days, these black guys just decided to start their stuff, conscious black guys, start their stuff on Noble Drew Ali's birthday. But you back them though. Listen every week. Yeah, we rep KTL. What's your nationality? Oh, you know, well, they're Moors. So get with the program. You gotta get with the program. It's over. Like we said, these guys are doing their lecture at the Alhambra Ballroom. Alhambra is a Moorish palace. Polite all these guys. They're going to go debate in a building called Alhambra. People can't be so stupid. And if you're that stupid, then you're on your own. And we will continue beating you with the black bat and the Negro bat, the colored bat, African bat, the Kemetic, Zulu bat, whatever. We're going to beat you with it. Wait till your Black History Month comes. Oh, we got it lined up. Wait till Black History. It's already lined up. We'll put that out there too. Moorish History Month. Canaanland Wars. Once again. Right? Skypes every weekend. We got let's really do what's supposed to be done, proclaim our nationality, and then let's start talking about unity and coming together for stuff. Until the 4% say your nationality, because we're in the Moroccan Empire, so you better have a nationality related to that. Until the 4% get down with the 1%, all the stuff that we're going through right now is going to continue. And only the 1% is going to be benefiting life. Just because you want to get it. We showed y'all. You showed out the sister. She's leaving tomorrow. Go to Cambodia. High school trip. The Moors supported her to go to that. Moors. Not black guys. Black guys didn't even care. They didn't even... No. Okay. Hope she has a good trip. Moors. So Islam to all the Moors that put in on that. For that to manifest. Just to show people, once again, you know what I mean? Always showing people. And they don't want to get it. And like I said, don't worry about clock. You know, you got this. You got this. We're gonna get through everything today. We're gonna get through everything. Because the second part of this is that there's no such thing as a New World Order. Forget New World Order. That was just put up there, just see how much people we could draw using that code word. Stupid code word. It doesn't mean anything. It's just stupid. And people back in that like it's something. Scared of that. Calling their jurisdiction America with a triple K. Like this is some Klansmen and stuff around here. So. But don't forget, the Department of Justice is about ready to clear the officer with the Mike Brown and stuff. Clear him. That's playing stupid. You're black. But you're gonna go do some debate at Alhambra. You know how stupid it is. Yo, so stupid. Right. Go get yours. You say you want to support something. Support something that's real. Stop supporting fake stuff. Stop being 150 or whatever for some Jordans. How about order a batch of the newspaper, Masonic Gate, and be a distributor of something that is yours. Yeah, it says Masonic, but this is a Moorish newspaper, MoorishCivilLetter.net. Brother Abdullah L. Talib Mozi Bey. Masonic Gate. This is the third issue. You could use that. Masonic Gate. Make sure. Because, you know, you want to see what the Moors got? Okay, support some more stuff. And we'll see. You'll be able to see something. Until you start doing that, lock lips because your status is dead. Oh, yeah, commitment, yeah. Oh, yeah, sure, whatever. What's your nationality? And I'm not talking about what's your nationality or Merc L crap going around asking people what's your nationality. Right? But we don't naturalize. That's not how you get a nationality. You're born with a nationality. You already have that. You got no process to be a Moor. Right? Just like everybody's gonna go around talk crap about they're not this and they're not Muslim and they're not whatever, but we don't rep Muhammad Ali though. We'll rep him. You don't want nothing to do with the Moors, but you'll rep Muhammad Ali. And then go over here and say that you're the African whatever. But you rep Muhammad Ali though. And you won't call him Cassius Clay either. Like how you call El Hajj Malik El Shabazz Malcolm X. Because you don't want to say the L. Why? How come you don't want to say the L? Because that's Moorish. That's why. Because if you say that, you're admitting a fact. You're admitting a fact that L is Moorish. It's all the Hebrew guys. You try to play like you're going to claim some L when that's Canaanite. Get the hell out of here. You guys worship Baal before you worship whoever else that you got right now. Canaanite gods. All you Hebrew Israelites' ancestors worship Canaanite gods that you call the so-called, devil and all that stuff. Oh yeah, that's the devil, guys. When the Canaanites are your ancient foremothers and forefathers, Hebrew Israelites, going to Alhambra to go debate. But you're not Moors. Stupid, stupid. God is black, right? God is black, remember. Okay, keep in mind, God is black. Right? And then we'll just put it on there, just so that you can see how they do to black guys. Negro guys, colored African slaves that want to pretend like that's a status. Here's what they do to you. Yeah, it sucks. It sucks. Institutionalists. And know that black is a fraud. Yeah, they did some bad stuff to people. But really, what's going on though? What's really going on? Why are they dressing up in Moorish stuff, killing black guys? And then, when you look at that from the right perspective, you'll realize why Moors enslaved the Moors. If the clans guys are dressing up, if the clan guys are dressing up like Moors to kill people who call themselves, people who accept the brand as an identity, the Negro, black, colored, whatever brand. Once they accept it, there's agreeance. And once you agree with them, cover of the book is what you get. So this is what's said on page 78. God is black, remember, God is black. Remember the name of the title. And then once it's put in book form, and it's there, and you choose not to, whatever, not to read it, that's agreeance. For the home team though, not for you because you don't want to look at it. You just got played. So you think because you didn't look at it, oh yeah, that has nothing to do with me because I didn't even look. Oh, it's there. You chose not to look, which is intent, because you could look. You could go check and really see what does that say right there. You could flip the back of Roots. Instead of just watching the movie or whatever, you could just flip the back. You know what I'm saying? And find out that, Alex Haley's, he's native. He's an American. Coppertone, whatever. Yeah, he is that. He didn't believe that crap. Well, roots. He's native. Go check. Go check the record. Don't believe nothing. Don't believe anything. And the George G.M. James, quoting from Sedgwick and Tyler, Sedgwick and Tyler, History of Science, and Zeller's History of Philosophy Introduction, says, with the abolition of the Egyptian mystery system, intellectual darkness spread over Christian Europe and the Greco-Roman world for 10 centuries, during which time knowledge had disappeared. The Greeks showed no creative powers and were unable to improve upon knowledge which they had received from the Egyptians. In the 8th century AD, the Moors, i.e. natives of Mauritania in North Africa, invaded Spain and took with them the Egyptian culture which they had preserved. Knowledge in the ancient days was centralized, i.e. it belonged to a common parent and system, i.e. the wisdom, teachings, or mysteries of Egypt, which the Greeks used to call Sophia. So there's a key to let you go back and read all the Greek stuff or whatever, and instead of being stupid, they're not talking about some lady. They're talking about the mysteries of Egypt. This is their perspective. You know, European guys who say they're founders of stuff. Right? Sedgwick and Tyler, History of Science, say the people of North Africa were the neighbors of the Egyptians and became the custodians of Egyptian culture, which they spread through considerable portions of Africa, Asia Minor, and Europe. During their occupation of Spain, the Moors displayed with considerable credit the grandeur of African culture and civilization. So they're talking about Moors, but they're relating that to Egyptian and African. The schools and libraries which they established became famous throughout the medieval world. Science and learning were cultivated and taught. The schools of Cordova, Toledo, Seville, and Saragossa attained such celebrity that they, like their parent Egypt, attracted students from all parts of the Western world. Remember, West is over here. Remember, West is not Europe. How these African black liars like to say, yeah, Western civilization is the enemy. The wilderness of North America, because, you know what I mean, that's not our land, it wasn't cultivated. Crap. This is the West. And this is not some European land over here because of some 13 colonies that they got from dark-skinned people, called Moors, by the way. Who a Moor by the name of Benjamin Banneker gave them everything that they got. He was their consul. He was their trustee. And then trustee set up something and then gave it to the beneficiaries. And then they had stuff that they had to follow. Because it's the jurisdiction of the Moors. The West is here. The West is here. The West isn't some crackers. America with a triple K. It's us. Go check the Wesley Snipes movie. The Wesley Snipes Western movie. Where our stuff. Not playing no fiction. Trying to throw people through movies. Yo, you're first. I mean, why was he actually show us that we can have action hero? Like we can have action hero. That looks like us. Just like how they have Clint Eastwood and Chuck Norris, whoever else that they got. And we have one. Dynamite, all that. It's our stuff. Because remember, we ruled the North. What? When you say Renaissance, that means Moorish. Well, there was that in Harlem. What does that mean? Oh yeah, you know, culture was brought back. The rebirth of something that was dormant. That's what the Moors do. That's what we did in Europe that they're talking about. We took Moorish science is chematology. That these guys are going to go debate about at the Alhambra. We already know our people who aren't really there, right? Don't go to those events. We're talking about the conscious people. We're talking about there's going to be all these people at this event, right? Called the Alhambra, which is named after a Moorish palace. Canaanites, whatever. Oh yeah, and Hyksotes are, you know, Arabs, and all these people are like, it's only us around here. Everybody's late. We're everything before anything anybody else claims that they are. We're it first. We're first Europeans. We're the founders of Canada. Some Europeans came here first, anywhere around here. We've been here. This far north, in snow up to our ankles and all that. Been here. Not running from snow. Just because. We're Moors. We're from everywhere. Our jurisdiction is vast. Vast. And in order to get this jurisdiction that they want to call New World Order or whatever, they have to change stuff. They can't do that with the current system that created them. They have to create a new jurisdiction. So they say new jurisdiction is New World Order, which is really ancient. You know, I was listening to whatever, but something about the Moorish thing is, so I want to do the Moors. Yeah, because it's birthrights. It's internal. You know what I mean? That's when Selena won her thing and she did the. Everybody's, yeah, she won the stuff. What do you mean? The broad national TV. She could have did this. She could have did this. How come she didn't do this? How come she didn't do this? Like smiling, big smile with trophy. Everybody talk crap. They're not Moors, but they're rapper though. You have to come out and say stuff. What do you have to say? It's a fact that we're Moors. That's why I told people go watch the Musketeers. The Musketeer Show, episode 3, season 2, whatever. Figure it out. The one about the thief of something. And through the whole thing, calling the man a Moor, and the whole thing. This is going on right now. This is an episode of whatever series, TV crap that's going on right now. That there's a brother on it, and they're calling him a Moor through the whole thing. And then he's French. Because you created a fiction. But no fiction is bigger than the one that they got. Because their fiction transcends sea and space. They'll say that, yeah, we got a telescope, Hubble stuff, and we see something way down there called whatever. They just created a jurisdiction that's from where they're at to way out there. And then, just like the book, put it in the book. You don't read the book because whatever, then that's a win for the person who wrote the book. And yeah, if the video's out, it's alright. Once you get here, until it gets to YouTube. To 1501 AD. This is from Who Were the Negroes Before Slavery? Dr. Edna Gorham Bay, collaboration by Sultan David Rosser L. The ruthless, cruel Cardinal Ximenes ruled the Moors with an iron rod, and if they failed to submit, they were threatened and beaten into the gospel of peace and goodwill after the manner already approved by their Catholic magistraries, the same of the Jews. So the Jews and Moors lived together in harmony. So the Jews and Moors live together in harmony. But the Hebrews today, 4%, are saying they're not Moors. They're nothing to do with Moors because Moors belong to some tribe of something and whatever like that. You know. But Hebrew Israelites aren't Moors though. So just like there's dirty Moors, there's dirty Hebrew Israelites. There's dirty Nuwapians. There's dirty black power guys. There's dirty chematologists that want to continue living the fiction. Because within all those jurisdictions of schools of thought that we, say dear to our upliftment of being who I am and all that stuff or whatever, within all those, outside of Moorish Science Temple, Great Seal, Moors, whatever, Alhambra, whatever, outside of that, everybody else, within those, there's individuals who have nationality cards and say that they're Moors. But they're Hebrew Israelite. But they're Rasta. Because remember, when you check the synonyms of all these whatever that we call ourselves, all of it leads back to Moors. But when you check Moors, the synonyms of Moors, it doesn't lead back to all the stuff that the black guys say is their identity. It leads to other things internationally, not local. Because that 4% perspective is local. That's not an international perspective. The Moorish paradigm is international. The African paradigm is Moors, historically. So if we say that we want unity amongst the black community, African community, conscious, whatever community, have to get on board with what's your nationality. Again, put it out there again. I'm not talking about Merc L crap. Asking people what's their nationality on the corner. Right? Talk about if you say that you're conscious and you know yourself. The first thing is what's your status? That's the first issue before anything. People accommodate in order to give you the appearance that there's unity because you say that you're Kemet and the Moors came here to your Kemet thing, so the Moors are down with the Kemet thing. Well, after the Kemet thing, we still say that we're Moors though. But you're supposed to be in the 4%. Because we already know that, I keep reiterating the point of the 4% of the 5%, because not everybody's a poor righteous teacher. Because poor righteous teacher has a nationality. Never see, we already showed y'all. They had their feathers with the tassels and stuff like that. Or the kufis with the tassels, I mean. All those brothers. They're repping the Hebrew stuff, but they're Moors. Why they got tassels? But they're Hebrews, showing stars of David all over the stuff. So it's very important that, one, we know that there's no such thing as New World Order, so don't be scared about no Illuminati. Heck, some people. It's your stuff. And our identity is Moors. That's all our identity can be. The 4% plus the 80%, 85% playing games. They're playing games. They're not serious about no liberation. We showed you the wizard people. They didn't go marching up and down to get Warner Brothers to do something. They had a campaign. And they became a nation state of chocolate lovers. And the nation state of chocolate lovers challenged the nation state of Warner Brothers and won. But we're just talking about some chocolate loving people. They got licenses and stuff like that. What nationality are they? And then, based on their nationality, they create or become part of a pre-existing jurisdiction. And then it all comes down to who has the superior claim. The one that is making a claim, or the one that set the jurisdiction that claims are being made in. And the one that set up the jurisdiction that the claims being made in, because you can't make a claim without jurisdiction. And then jurisdiction is determined by your status. So these Jews and Moors that they kicked out of Spain, Jews and Moors, not Africans and Hebrew Israelites, and Jews and Moors. Right? Everybody wants to be some lost tribe of something so they can claim it and say that they found. That's a European concept. More. They've always been that. We've always been that. Even in a dead status. So it wasn't a transition to something, you know what I mean, that, oh yeah, you know, like we said, there's Moors who bullets zing by their ears and stuff like that. You bullet zing by your ears, and other people getting hit, but zing by your ears. That's real. To show how real nationality is. Because from that experience, you know that, must be some type of purpose. Must be something that I'm supposed to know, find out, whatever. If bullets zinging by your ears. If you're, crossed by the street and then you turn and the bus just, you're like, oh, almost got it. Something's watching out. Something's looking out. And that's an aspect of the high levels of the divine or the divinity of the Moorish movement. Those type of levels is what really makes this divine. Are you clairvoyant? Are you telepathic? There's Moors who, oh, let's do this one. There's unawakened Moors, right? There's that stuff happens to prove that they're Moors, but they don't go with it because of where we're going to go later with regard to the whole witchcraft and stuff. But what are they doing? What's their level? And again, one of our own master teachers. This is locked, stock and barrel right now. And the killer is numbers. Because the 5% can influence the 85%. And 10% is in problems when we hit 90. That means, like Lucy, you hit 90 now, you're starting to get into the range of about to take this thing over, about to take it to that next level. And everybody knows that because of the historical ferociousness of the Moors, people are scared. But remember, this was before all of the black leader guys who they got these guys debating at Alhambra. So there's already been something in place. There's already been something in place. And they've taken people, 4%, totally away from declaring and proclaiming their status for the records of the world. have them dissing their own birthright, talking about this is some wilderness, right? Same book, Who Were the Negroes Before Slavery? National Geographic Society, December 15th, 1983. National Geographic Society, make sure you go look them up. To Mr. Frank Nathan Wally Bay. Dear Mr. Wally Bay, thank you for writing to the National Geographic Society. We know sincerely yours, Eugenia something, M something, right? This is in the same book. Who Were the Negroes Before Slavery? Dr. Edna Gorham Bay, collaboration by Sultan David Rosser L. And the National Geographic Society went on the record that there's no such thing. There's no geographical area. What are they talking about? Nationality. There's no jurisdiction. There's no jurisdiction. You know, we're the National Geographic Society. And as the National Geographic Society, we've checked our records. And there is no geographical area or there is no jurisdiction that is referred to as Negro, Black, Colored, or Afro, which is African. That they're verifying that there's no such thing called that. We checked our stuff. We're the National Geographic Society. And we checked our own stuff. And based on their research, they didn't see anything called what you're claiming, somebody's claiming that there's a jurisdiction called that. So they're going to make up flags and, I mean, make up anthems and sing and stand at attention because they have the black national whatever. Do your thing. But that's a fiction. Nobody is respecting that. They have no right to respect that. They don't have no right because they're under occupation or they're subjugated. They have no right because there's nothing called that to have a right for, to back. So-called barbed wire fence called highwayman, peace constable and all this stuff to keep the 10% kind of, taken care of. But, they can't stop mail. They can try stuff, but, there's too many independent couriers for them to stop mail. Their jurisdiction can't stop mail. That's why they're going to say Moors are paper terrorists. Because, Well, you know, the legal stuff that we rep in the mail with a statement telling you that you have to pay something, and then it's not signed in blue ink by the person giving it, that's the paper terrorism. You just come to your car and then there's something on your window made of paper telling you go pay 500 because you parked in front of something. There's a sign right here, and then your nose is like a little bit over the line, the invisible line. Your nose is over the invisible line, so technically there's no parking here, so we have to give you 500. But we're not going to deal with you face to face and contract you sign something in your face. We're just going to leave this paper on your windshield, and just, you know, the office is on there, or just call the number, and, you know, you take credit card over the phone, right? And we'll just deal with that for you, or deal with that for us. Fraud, paper terrorism. That's the real paper terrorism. That's the real misusing of the courts, right? Because if the National Geographic Society is going to come out with telling people that that jurisdiction, Negro, Black, Colored, or Afro, is not something that they can reference, then it's a fraud. And if somebody goes with that fraud under the guise, that's why we don't play around, show Moore's videos that we went to court and this is what happened in the court. Because if you have nigger issues that you haven't dealt with, and then you want to get a Moorish science and say, well, yeah, now that I'm Moorish science, they don't have jurisdiction. If you got nigger stuff that you didn't get into with a status, you better deal with that stuff before you try to get over here and mess your life up. It's real. Because we have to take some responsibility. We have to do some 7 Kwanzaa principles. Stop fronting like we're repping Kwanzaa when you're not taking responsibility, which is one of the principles in Kwanzaa. And the responsibility is, what's your nationality? Responsibility is, you got 8 baby moms or whatever like that, you're conscious. What's real? Clean up all your nigger shit, and then deal with nationality. Because trust me, the nigger stuff and the Moorish stuff doesn't mix. And you're hexing yourself. You try to pull those ones. Hexing yourself. Everybody. So we're going to go to the feature for today, because what really went down, as usual, when you're in more science, you're studying, you get revelations. And when we did the Carter G. Woodson book class, that was a revelation of remembering, always remembering to go back to the black stuff. The good black stuff that we have, like we have some black stuff that, you know what I mean? It's crap. Forget that. But there's some black stuff that we have that when we go and recheck with a Moorish mind, with a Moorish eye, with a Moorish heart, Moorish spirit, everything starts coming out in the open to you, that you've been told that yes, you're on the right path, because I've been had this book in the library. Been had this. And it's riddled with more science. I missed it. So the revisit today is Dr. Amos Wilson, African-Centered Consciousness versus the New World Order, Garveyism in the Age of Globalism. And of course, you know, we're going to rep this one because this one is an honors to Marcus Garvey, you know, which, again, revelation, Islam to Rami Salam El for putting it back in the forefront again, that, yo, yeah, I can't forget the forerunner. You know what I mean? We got to remember that the forerunner dealt with nationhood on the most supreme level, that all these black guys punking him, you know what I mean? But he was on the science. You need to make no proclamation. He was on the science. He was on the principles of nationhood, nationality. Doesn't have to say nationality. The fact that he's saying nationhood, right? The fact that he's making reference to it using the term nation. Of his native Jamaica. The arresting beauty of the island bellied its long, bloody history of war, brute slavery, genocide, ecocide, pestilence, and suffering of its contemporary black inhabitants. On August 17, 1887, in St. Ann's Bay, Marcus Mosiah Garvey was born into this world of stark contradictions. Of the 11 children born to Sarah and Marcus Garvey, young Marcus and his older sister Indiana were the only siblings to live past childhood. The elder Marcus was a proud descendant of the Maroons, a community of African runaways who wrenched their freedom from the British by force of arms. A master stonemason, reputedly as strong as an ox, he was a passionate lover of books, of which he owned a considerable number. The possession of a library distinguished him in a community of small-scale peasant farmers of simple means and modest ways. His wife Sarah was said to have been extraordinarily beautiful, a wonderfully black woman with luxuriously smooth skin. She was the business and guava and sold the popular delights at a decent profit. In 1912, Garvey departed for England, intent upon broadening his perspectives even further. His time was maximized. He attended lectures at Birkbeck College, University of London, made regular visits to the House of Commons, studied at the city's magnificent libraries, and spoke at the Hyde Park famous Speaker's Corner. He also traveled to Scotland, Ireland, France, Italy, Spain, Austria, Hungary, and Germany. And just for the Moors in Canaanland, remember CTV, Speaker's Corner, just to show you how they brought everything from there here to set up their jurisdiction, right? That's where Speaker's Corner, right? That's the Speaker's Corner. The origin of Speaker's Corner is Speaker's Corner in London, England, which they claim, this is the realm of the Queen over here, right? In England, he secured a job with the African Times and Orient Review, published in London by an indigenous African, Deuce Muhammad Ali. Oh, so if you use the term African, you have to say indigenous with it. Because remember, Amos Wilson's doctor. So indigenous African. Indigenous African. So again, Garvey. In England, he secured a job with the African Times and Orient Review, published in London by an indigenous African, Deuce Muhammad Ali, a scholar, brilliant propagandist, and world traveler who agitated for African independence. Remember, every time you see African, that's Moorish. Every time you see African, that's Moorish. But not every time you see Moorish is it African. Every time you see African, that's Moorish. But every time you see Moorish, it's not African. Of the continuing Arab slave trade, of how Islam came to dominate the continent's northern and eastern regions. He learned of Africa's present configuration as a result of the Berlin Conference, November 13th, 1884 to February 26, 1885, at which England, France, Germany, Portugal, Spain, Belgium, and Turkey, and the United States of America as onlooking, willing accomplices, agreed to bring order to their ongoing theft of Africa. A gentle carved it up. I think it's in this. Let's see. This is the book that we got right now, that we're just doing a quick double check, see if it's in here. The book is How Europe Underdeveloped Africa by Walter Rodney. So make sure you get that one to put in reference with the Berlin Conference and how these nations that are all part of the Moorish jurisdiction was infiltrated, taken over, and then used under the Deuce pulled no punches when it came to Africa's then condition. Slavery, degradation, rampant European domination, and brutal exploitation ruled every corner of the mother continent. The African race nowhere found a safe haven. Black life was extirpated, and the whole race had been brought to heel. A much enlightened and reinvigorated Garvey returned to Jamaica in June 1914, 1 month before the outbreak of the World War I. His mind filled with ideas of enterprise and establishing of what he referred to then as the Universal Improvement of Negro Conservation Association and African Communities League, an organization for the betterment of Africans at home and abroad. 5 days after arrival, Garvey launched the association in Kingston. The association was officially founded on the 1st of August 1914. Chosen since that day marked the anniversary of the abolition of African enslavement in the British West Indies. So a key point to keep in mind is Drew Ali being before Marcus Garvey as well. So now there's no dispute now doing his studies. And it's no coincidence that he goes to London and meets an indigenous African who is known to the world as a Sudanese Moor. That's how he's known. That's how he's recognized, that he's a Sudanese Moor. Right? So Garvey was taught. Garvey was learned. You know what I mean? In doing his own work, he was studied. And I'm sure getting to Deuce Muhammad Ali, it was a whole different level. Right? So we're going to skip ahead. Right? If you want to know more about Garvey and all that stuff from this perspective, you can go get the book. It's out there. It's not something that's not in print anymore, like certain people's books, so you can't get the info about nationality and Moorish history, because they hide stuff. There's not no popularity crap. This is us really recognizing what's up and doing something to change this. Making sure that we do something. African-centered consciousness versus the New World Order that we're going to address as Moorish-centered consciousness versus nothing, because we already said New World Order, that's our stuff, right? Because the New World Order is the Old World Order, and the Old World Order is the Moors that they destabilized all over the planet in order to have jurisdiction right now to, for example, tax people. That the Moors have, because of having a nationality, they have the ability in circumstances not to pay those taxes that are, Inquisition colonist operations. So we beat that. But they're still dealing with that. Yes, we're dealing with some of it too, but we're beating some stuff. We're not just healing, right? We are dealing with some of these issues as Moors to the so-called 4% conscious community. Know that the Moors are dealing with issues of people getting their house kicked in and babies kidnapped, right? By corporate jurisdiction that has no jurisdiction in indigenous matters. But if indigenous claims to be some fraud like Hebrew Israelite, then hey, door can get kicked in. Baby stolen. Because we're in the jurisdiction. And once you're in those people's jurisdiction, they got claim too. And more than likely, the claim that we make in their jurisdiction is not going to be a superior one, because they already got some nigger stuff from 20 years ago that he never dealt with, that they're Moore goes and does time for a crime he didn't commit or whatever. He gets out. He gets a ticket, and they're using the license that's expired before he went to jail as the identification for the case in 2014. They're using the expired license. The license that's expired before he went in jail to do 8 years. They're using that in 2014 as the instrument to identify him as a corporate whatever so they can have jurisdiction. To do what, I don't know, because, you know what I mean, he's out. It's not like he's kidnapped or something. So why they do stuff, I don't know. Why? They waste their time. But then when you think about it, it's business. So the longer this thing goes on, the more 4%ers they can rake. Because more than likely, they're paying for that. Moors aren't paying because, you know, we have no obligation to the jurisdiction. But we go because, you know, they like to play, you know, send people and kicking doors and stuff like that. So, okay, yeah, we go into jurisdiction. And we'll come back every day for a year, 5 years. Hey, you know, no big deal. Because not nothing to me. I'm out here. Oh, yeah, nothing going on. You're not calling me every day, sending over people, worrying about anything. You just say, oh, you here today? Well, come back 2 years from now in court date. Okay, sure. I'll be back. So we're dealing with things. And why? Because of this chapter, or this, yeah, you call it a chapter. But, well, this is why Moors could beat tickets. This is why Moors could not pay taxes. This is why, yes, nationality, but there's a divine to this. Remember, Dr. Amos is not a black guy. He's a black guy who wrote some books, right? We're going to pursue African-centered consciousness. Remember, African. They say black, they're talking about status, not an identity, not skin color. They're talking about a social, political, economic, whatever position. Okay, and they say black. When they say white, they're not talking about skin complexion. They're talking about status. Talking about a abstract. Okay. So this is page 87, Power and Consciousness. We're going to pursue African-centered consciousness, personality, and culture as instruments of power. Ultimately, this is what this whole struggle is about, one of power. Not one of loving one another and all the things we hear. Largely, the problems we are confronted with today as African people in America flow from our powerlessness or our inappropriate use of power. We've been made to think that to even talk about and think of power is sinful, that to pursue it is immoral and wrong. But one cannot exist without power. Without power, there is no life. A battery without power is dead. You need power to act. Of power and use them as instruments of power to transform our situation. The imperative of consciousness, right? Remember, not the imperative of being conscious, the conscious imperativeness, the imperative of consciousness. We should not look at consciousness as some abstraction. As I often tell people, the most practical thing we could have is a good theory, a good concept to guide our behavior. to be used as an instrument right? There's a theory, there's a concept, there's an instrument that can be used to measure our reality. Right? And that tool, that guide, that reference point is the principles that Noble Drew Ali laid down for the Moors. Because we have to line ourselves up properly before you can partake in this great missionary work. A good theory organizes the world and organizes one's approach to the world. It permits one to be able to evaluate Latin law terms. Is he trying to tell you something? Does he know that maybe African is synonymous with Moor? And that by dropping these little hints and keys in his book for the reader, it would allow them to really get the perspective. ADHOC, ad hoc, law term, Latin law term. Latin law term by African black guy in his book. To be without theory is to approach the world on an ad hoc basis, to just meet it here and there, and to not approach it in a systematic form. Without human consciousness, there is no world. It is the a world that fits itself. In other words, the kind of world you exist in reflects the kind of consciousness you have. Notice, if you change your consciousness or change your values and orientation, you enter into a different world. Right? Just going back to the beginning with the witchcraft and the occult and realms and vortexes, and this is what he's talking about on a mundane level, just like Noble Drew Ali spoke on a mundane level. And they couldn't even get that. So he said, I'm going to the soul plane, forget this crap. This is the lowest level. Notice, if you change your consciousness, or change your values and orientation, you enter into a different world. We changed our consciousness from Negro, black, colored. Not paying taxes is a different world. Not having to deal with tickets. Not having to worry about white people taking away your jobs, and the enemy is the white man, and Europeans have so much power all over the world, right? Man's consciousness is a creative act, and the kind of consciousness one has will determine the kind of world one creates. We talk about the white man as having power. Recognize that power ultimately has to do with a relationship between people, and that the white man's so-called power is to a large degree based on the nature of the relationship he has with the black man. We empower him by the nature of our own behavior and attitudes as a people. He can but he's putting it in a perspective that if we look at this as more science, replace stuff, stop going with things, right? Stop going with things. Challenge, especially ones who should know better that look like you. Let's get down with it just because. Just getting down with it just because. It's cool. Oh, it's cool. I think I'll go with those guys. That's like these people with this crap about who's the best MC or whatever. What are we talking about? Who's the best? Best what? You know how much best they are? If everybody's their own entity, you know how much best they are? And we're not even talking about, you know what I mean, people who feel that they can, whatever. We're talking about, you can go check the record of MCs and there's no one best. That's an impossibility, that there's a one best. Right? Next chapter, denial of slave consciousness. I am often somewhat amused and taken aback by the number of people in this society who claim that slavery occurred somewhere back there. You've got some so-called black conservatives who claim that slavery no longer influences the nature of African people. I wonder what these people have to conserve in the first place. Are they conserving power? Are they conserving wealth? What does a black conservative conserve? They've got to conserve something. And since they have very little there, or you'll hear whites offer, well, we don't have anything to do with that anymore. it's an amazing situation because you have to remind them you are still living off the interest on the wealth of your forefathers earned from slavery. You are still enjoying the accumulated wealth that began with the enslavement of our people, right? The enslavement of our people. If you're going to enjoy the wealth that was generated by the evil, then you must take the curse that comes along with it. Cult, witchcraft stuff, hex people, get what you want to get. Right? As we say and act does not end at the point of its occurrence. It continues to reverberate into the future and down across the generations. That is why when you behave in a particular way, you have to think in terms of 7 generations from your behavior as to how what you're going to do is going to affect those generations later on. So we have some of our people who think that slavery was back then and has nothing to do with them. Brothers and sisters, we have never escaped slavery. We still share the slave consciousness of our great-great-grandparents. We are of the same mind to a great extent that they were. We have not advanced beyond these people. To explain this, I generally ask a series of is the slave language, the language that our slave ancestors were forced to learn. We still speak it, and you can still hear the pidgin, the Creole, and the other carryovers in our language right at this moment, the experience that they had to go through. There has been no change at all in terms of our relationships with these people. What kind of God do you worship? What's the name of it? What taught you to praise him? Was this the God you were praying to before you were brought to these shores? Is this the religion you had before you were brought to these shores? Can you name one African God? How can you define yourself? The very essence of yourself, the very essence of your soul, and organize the very nature of your life here on earth based on a God handed to us by our slave masters, and claim that you have no slave consciousness and are not related to slavery. Remember, all this is relative to the 4%ers who claim they are conscious and they know whatever. But nationality is not on their dial plate. And their whole perspective is based on some fiction. No different than European man on a wall, people say, son of God. Same fiction, somebody saying Kemet. Now, again, with regard to the perspective of us having a nationality and a percentage of us who should have this concept in their mind if they claim to be conscious, are really practicing self-hatred, right? Remember, we're not talking about the black people who don't want to be conscious and then they're in the self-hate because they got, firms. We're talking about people who got the naturals and they dress and they go to the debates and the lectures and the whatever else, say they know their self when really they're practicing self-hate because they have a nationality that they don't want to claim because they're listening to some clown who knows about nationality. He's not telling them, you got paperwork filed or whatever like that, that he's a Moor, but orientation toward the world and toward oneself. Self-hatred, then, is the white man's greatest protection against being destroyed by the black man. To a great extent, one function of the personality is to direct energy to direct aggression, to channel aggression, energy, wishes, and impulses in particular directions, to organize feelings, to organize energy, to achieve certain ends. Those things that we hate, often when we are angry or hostile, we aggress against them. We often attack them. We destroy overwrought by feelings of hostility, and our self-hating personality seeks to channel that hostility and that aggression. It's going to challenge the aggression right back onto the self, because that's the thing we hate most. So you don't want to get down with nationality. I don't want to be Moors. I want to be something else. That's demonstration of self-hatred. And that anger and resentment that you have for that so-called enemy and you want to kill him, that's really on you. Because you have not embraced the fact that you are a human being, natural, living entity, breathing, connected to the universe, connected to all other living things. When you leave yourself open, when you sail your boat on an ocean with no flag, pirates will board you. Nationality, Moorish nationality, specifically to the people that are labeled Negro, black, colored, etc., label themselves stuff that's not real. Nationality is to protect your aura, protect your talk about black stuff only that he talked about. Lucid possession. In this case, the person at least has a sense of self, and they have the sense that there's another spirit in them, and they struggle with that spirit, sometimes losing the battle. They become obsessed in their struggle with their spirit, and in a sense are disenabled by that struggle. So some of us are in that state where we're not quite satisfied with the identity we have. We know something is deeper, an African self that's in us. We are also aware that there's Eurocentrically implanted demons in us that we wrestle with daily. Spontaneous and artificial possession. This is in contrast possessed by the spirit and having our bodies taken over and being possessed. And then we say we feel the spirit. We feel the spirit living within us. Consequently, much of our life is about provoking, through artificial means, spirits which take over us and assume control of our behavior. Latent possession. When we are possessed and we do not even know we are possessed, this is referred to as latent possession. We are not even aware. And those are the hardest ones to break through because they don't sense any kind of spirit within the personality. They and their possessing spirit are one and the same. When you try to exercise their possessive spirit, they feel as if you are attacking them personally. In defending their person, they defend the spirit that possesses them. The multiple personality and enslaved Africans. This is most dramatic when we study the so-called multiple personality. Though I have read some of this before, just indulge me again in this context. I'll read to you the description that was printed in the New York Times. We've got one body, but depending on what consciousness possesses that body, it will react to the drinking of orange juice, with or without hives. It will break out in blisters. So to drink orange juice, when one of the other personalities is possessing it, welts and hives will break out right there. If Timmy comes back, if the new consciousness comes back and takes over that body, the hives will disappear almost on the moment. In other words, then, there's a different body for a different consciousness. It goes on to say that medical disorders are found to differ from one subpersonality to another. So to a great extent, the defeat of disease, the maintaining of health, must not only be pursued in terms of discovering new drugs and such things, but must involve self-discovery and self-knowledge. The defeat of the disease, the maintaining of health, must involve self-discovery and self-knowledge. The divine self. As we grow as more scientists, all these things that Brother Amos Wilson is talking about with regard to the possession, we've either gone through it ourselves or are seeing it happen when we deal with our people. We're seeing it happen. And the only way that they will be removed from that level of consciousness is when they themselves realize what the Moors have been telling them. Until they realize what the Moors have been telling them, it's going to be a continual, fight. So lace up. We know that we're the 1% as Moors. We know that the 4%, well, they could do it. They could do it. But being that status is the first issue at law, nothing they says means anything. Sound good. Buy some stuff, support your stuff. But the reality of the situation, you really can't do anything because the status has to change. And in changing your status from assumption to reality ends all the possession. That's not sentient, conscious beings, cognizant, aware of who they really are. That's why Drew Ali said some of the fire is going to touch the coattails of some of you Moors. The good ones. The good ones are going to get burnt too. Because the soul is perfect, even in the body of a fool. But that perfect soul and body have to line up. And the grounding is nationality. The anchor is nationality. So we want to say Islam to all the Moors, peace, love, and Hotep. We do want to give supreme honors to the Prophet. Continue to put the word out, because that's all we could really do. Keep letting these people know how real this issue of nationality and birthrights is. And they will get on board. They don't really have a choice in the matter. They will get on board. And unfortunately, for a lot of them, it's going to be because of pain, but truth's supposed to hurt. All the international Moors, the Moors outside of Northwestern Mexico, Islam, peace, love, and Hotep, all the active Moors, the faithful Moors, the Moors that's been battling with the audio all night, Islam to y'all. I know the no video action is part of their plan. You know, they can't stop it altogether. You know, but we'll just do this like, you know, like when the zombie movie, and you know, there's one guy with a radio, and he's just like, you know, trying to, I wonder if anybody's out there listening. If you're listening, know that, you know what I mean, it ain't over. We're still out here, and all we got to do is just get the message to everybody to meet at the top of the whatever. I mean, so we're putting the call out. Putting the call out. If you're there, I know you're out there. I know you're out there. I know you're listening right now. See if you're out there, but I know you're out there. 5 on the left, 2 on the right. Allah, the Father of the universe, Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation, by night and by day, through His holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, Islam. Peace, Moors. No, you can't see me, but I know you're out there. We got this. Islam. Oh yeah, don't forget, before I forget, CalifaMedia.com, the new book is dropping soon. Who Stole the Fez, Moors or Shriners? That one's coming. And then don't forget that Khalifa Media, if you need any books for you to study in, check that site. If you need the newspaper, go hit up MorrisCivilLetter.net, because MorrisCivilLetter.net, we got the newspaper. And then when you check the newspaper, you'll see just another group of Moors, right, using the paper like it's supposed to be used for. Let's put this on the record quick fast. Moorish territories under European occupation. Moors have been socially conditioned into referring to European colonies for the names of Moorish territories and lands. For instance, it is taught in schools under the jurisdiction of the United States Mikhail Rashad Ali, Kentucky Republic Territory, Omar Bey. Mikhail Rashad Ali, ex-relation Mikhail Rashad. Kentucky Republic Territory, Omar Bey, ex-relation Goldie Taylor III. Maryland Republic Territory, Sheba Ordera L. Bey, ex-relation Sherilyn Burke Robertson. Ramsey City L. Bey, ex-relation Frank Irwin Robertson. Dr. Yao Kwabena L., ex-relation Dr. William Henry Clay Jr., Michigan Republic Territory, ex-relation Law relation, Law Samaj Tra Bey, ex-rel Walter James Hart III, Minnesota Republic Territory, Kunda Maurice Bey, ex-relation Darnell Jones, North Carolina Republic Territory, now post your name correction / legal status clarification in the Masonic Gate for 50 notes. Contact Abdullah L. Talib Mosey Bey at 215-300-5471 or etymology vocabulary at gmail.com. So Abdullah L. Talib Mosey Bey, 215-300-5471 or etymology vocabulary at gmail.com. That's MorishCivilLetter.net, and that's the Masonic Gate postings on the public record of Moors that have, proclaimed their nationality. So Islam to all the Moors, peace, love, and hotep once again, and we'll see you on Sunday at our Sunday school meeting, class, etc. on this same channel at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Islam.